What was your biggest treat your self-regret? Thought, I've never been on a cruise. I want to go on a cruise now, so booked a 2-week Caribbean cruise in a suite with the wife, who, on arrival, decided she didn't like me anymore and spent 2 weeks avoiding me, so I spent 2 weeks on my own on this bloody ship. We're divorced now. This is why I have never gone on a cruise. I really like my wife. I've been unemployed for over a year now, and hadn't bought anything nice for myself in months. While buying groceries, I saw some pomegranates, and I decided I deserved a treat. I found the biggest one in the pile, looked great, and bought it. When I cracked that fucker open that night, it was rotten inside, with no sign it had gone bad on the outside. I actually cried, because I felt I had wasted precious money I shouldn't have. All-you-can-eat sushi bar. Did the math on how much sushi I had to eat to save money from just buying the rolls individually. I hit my goal, but at what cost? I was trying not to throw up for the whole drive home, and spent the rest of the day in bed clutching my stomach and rethinking my life. Bought a PS3 when it came out and had to return it to pay rent. I had the same thing. Bought a PS3, but needed money so I returned it a week later. I just passed my exams in university, so decided to treat myself to some Ben & Jerry's. I woke up covered in hives, vomiting and burning up. Apparently I had an unknown allergy. It was the worst week of my life. For those curious, the allergist didn't find anything common that I was allergic to. This was over a decade ago, and I've never had issues since. It may well have been a fluke or something else. Bought a pair of used snowmobiles for $2,000. Had them for 2 years. First year we both got the flu. The 1 week the snowmobile trails were open, so never used them. Second year my wife was pregnant, so we decided to sell them. Ends up one no longer wants to start, and the other one runs but now has issues. Ended up selling them for $500. Never once used them besides unloading them from the trailer when we bought them. Where do you live where the snowmobile trails are only open for 1 week? Lower Wisconsin. Was a shit year for snow. We got 6 inches, then it warmed up and it all melted. Just kept repeating that cycle. Other years usually get a solid month. Bought a sandwich after work, nearly choked on it. I was insanely broke as a 22 years old, and just landed a new job. I was so excited about it and decided to celebrate by buying chicken nuggets and a caramel frappe from McDonald's. The breading from the first damn chicken nugget managed to cut the inside of my throat, and I couldn't speak for 2 days. I bought a pair of quad roller skates on a whim, meaning that I did no research. Turns out there is quite a bit of intricacy with skates. I had purchased a pair meant for speed, meant for indoor rinks. My intended use was for outdoor skating. This resulted in falling on my ass a million times outside and having zero control on my newly paved road. After buying softer wheels meant for outdoors, wow, it's a huge difference. I should have done some research and saved myself a good chunk of money. I regret the spur-of-the-moment purchase, but I am glad that I got the skates and new wheels. I once bought a good quality regulation pool table with all the accessories for about $4,000. But after moving to a new location, I regretted the purchase because there was no room for it, other than to give up the dining room and replace the dining room chandelier with a billiards light fixture. Bought a telescope. But then I needed a camera to take pics. Then I needed a camera and smaller scope to guide it. Then I needed a better, more expensive mount. Then I needed another camera to help set up the more expensive mount. Then I needed cases and storage for this stuff. And another camera. And a star tracker. Then all of a sudden I have thousands in gear that I've used exactly never because it's freezing and cloudy most of the good viewing season anyways. I have a friend who did the same thing. Started with a decent telescope and just kept buying all manner of lenses and things, spending crazy amounts, which just kept spiraling out of control. If you're not careful, the costs of the hobby can be astronomical. I spent around $300 on all the Talisman board games and a further $200 on a custom-made box to keep them all in. Largely due to COVID, I've played them once. I bought a laptop from Razer. Worst decision ever. Already had to send it back to them once. Now it's just out of warranty, and having more problems. Never again. I dropped $1,000 on a gaming PC when I was a sophomore in college. Took out a credit card to put it on that and overestimated my ability to consistently make more than the minimum payments. Ended up finally paying it off like 2 years later, having paid probably an extra $300 in interest. But learned a valuable lesson, and also had a better PC than all my friends. Went to Vegas and spent more money than I had intended. Had a blast, but flash forward a month later I had nothing to pay my car payment, and in Florida if you are late 1 month they can repo your car. They did. 1 month? What the fuck? That was your only late payment on your loan and they took it? Yes, I thought someone had stolen my car and actually called the police. The next day GM Financing, AmeriCredit, called and demanded the full balance of my loan to get it out of the impound. That's Florida law. I still owed $4,000 on it at the time. Apparently here they can repo if they choose to. I thought 1 month wouldn't be a big deal. Never saw the car again, and it was sold in auction. Pretty much everything I impulse bought while unemployed during quarantine. Overnight in a hotel room with a professional escort. She got drunk and broke down in tears over the fact that she is an escort. Most Apple products. Bought an iPad so now when I'm bored of scrolling on my phone I can go be bored scrolling on a bigger version of my phone. After years of wanting to experiment with my hair, I finally convinced myself that dyeing my long healthy brown hair purple was the best way to treat myself. I was originally given a price of $150 give or take depending on amount of dye used. Anyway, when she was done styling, I was happy and it looked pretty. I got to the counter, and the total comes to $500. Now, I'm not a confrontational person. Also, I was young and kind of stupid to not argue with them. So I just paid, left a $50 mandatory gratuity, and left. I know. For the next 2 weeks, everything that came in contact with my hair was stained purple. Every time I washed my hair, it bled purple. My shower was stained, the skin on my back, pillowcase, sheets, the back of my shirts, purple. The worst part was that my long, beautiful, healthy brown hair was a heaping, faded, broken pile of straw after those 2 weeks. So I went out and bought a box dye similar to my own color, dyed my hair back, and swore off ever dyeing my hair ever again. You got screwed. A good cosmetologist would not damage your hair with just 1 round of dyeing, or have that much of an issue with bleeding. But worst of all, there is no scenario in which it's okay to go more than 200% over budget without the client knowing. That's a straight-up scam. I don't say this to beat you up, just to let you know that not all hair salons will be like this, and if you ever want your hair colored again you can find a good salon. Bought a ticket to a concert as a birthday present to myself. Got way too drunk and got a DUI and totaled my car. After getting another DUI, I realized I had a problem, got help, and am over 3 years sober now. Had not eaten Burger King in 10 years and last week a buddy at work said he was going. Figured man I miss double Whoppers, I want one. Got it, loved it, then an hour later I'm eating Pepto and running back and forth to the bathroom. Yeah, there was a reason I didn't eat it for 10 years. A friend of mine hadn't eaten MCDs in about 10 years and ended up eating a bunch the night before a charity bike ride. He ended up stuck in a sweltering porta-potty blasting out of his rear end and hasn't touched it since. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.